Welcome to EnrichMinds.com and our session on the 4 ways to financial independence. The key question you must always ask yourself is, how are you making money, or how will you make your money? Is there a helpful framework to think through or use as a guide? We present one for you. In his book, Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki describes the 4 quadrants: employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor, and what each of them can expect of their lives. And the best part is, he also explains how to transition from working for money to having your money work for you. Each compartment is for employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor. We shall understand the meaning of these 4 types. This is called the cash flow quadrant because it shows how people of different types generate cash flow. We will use this picture to know the difference between employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor. An employee has a job. This is where most people earn their income. The job itself is owned by a business, which could be a single person or a large corporation. The employee gives his or her time, energy, and skills to an employer in exchange for the salary. Employees can make a little or a lot of money, but when an employee stops working, or when the business stops, their income stops too. This long-term lack of control over income is a primary problem of the E quadrant. An employee gets paid in return for his time or his working hours. He trades his time for money. Many employees get tired of their lack of control and choose to work for themselves. The self-employed still work, but they own their job. The S quadrant includes dentists, insurance agents, restaurant owners, repairmen, and many other trade workers. Many self-employed people earn very large incomes, but like the employee, when they stop working, so does their income. Self-employed people do have a lot more control than an employee, but that also means they have more responsibility. As a result, success usually means working harder and working longer. A self-employed person also trades his or her time for money. Both the employee and the self-employed person work for money and have little to no leverage in their lives. Those in the B quadrant own a business and lead people. The people who work for the business can run the business successfully without the business owner's constant involvement. The same types of businesses could be run by S owners and B owners. For example, a plumber could own and work in his own plumbing business, or a business owner could create a plumbing business and hire quality plumbers and a manager to run the plumbing business. The people employed by business owner can run it successfully without the business owner's constant involvement. The wealthiest people in the world typically own businesses. These include Bill Gates of Microsoft, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, and Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. The business owner, on the other hand, leverages other people's time. They use the time of their employees to become successful. They also leverage other people's money to start or grow their business. They often also invest in their own businesses, and so their money is working for them. Investors own assets that produce income. Oftentimes, these assets are investments in companies or businesses. They take risks and work hard to make their investments successful. Investors in this quadrant have usually money earned in one or more of the other three quadrants, and they let the money go to work and produce even more money for themselves. This is a case of money working for money, money creating more money. Warren Buffett, one of the world's most well-known investors, once said that he started investing too late because he was already 11 years old when he made his first investment. Investors often leverage other people's money as well. They are likely to manage the money of others, whether individuals or institutions. But the bottom line is that their money is working for them versus them working for their money. Generally, this is how the journey to becoming an investor starts. A person starts with being an employee working for someone, then she becomes self-employed, then she selects people to run her business. Now, she's a business owner. Let's look at an example. Let's suppose someone who is a doctor starts working in a hospital. Later, she starts her own clinic or hospital. She becomes self-employed. Later, she hires some doctors to run her hospital. She becomes a business owner of her hospital. Now, the money she earned is invested, and this money creates more money for her. Here, she is an investor. So, if you want to achieve greater financial independence and freedom, it will pay to start learning the skills and mindset required to make this move to the right side. Now that we know the basics of the cash flow quadrant, let's watch a 10-minute video and understand the key takeaways.
Did you ever hear this while growing up? Just go to school, get good grades so you can get a secure and well-paid job. I bet that 95% of you have been raised to believe that this is the road to financial success. I know that I was. And this path might be the most suitable for some people, but definitely not for everyone. In Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki explains that there are 4 different paths to become wealthy, but some of them are more efficient than others. Takeaway number 1, the Cash Flow Quadrant. The Cash Flow Quadrant is a simple model that explains that wealth can come from 4 different sources. Which quadrant you belong to depends on where most of your income comes from. The 4 different quadrants are E, the employee, S, the small business owner or self-employed, B, the big business owner, and I, the investor. The employee strives for security. He achieves financial success by climbing the corporate ladder. And you might find him say something like, "I'm looking for a secure job with nice colleagues and great benefits." The small business owner or self-employed, on the other hand, strives for control. He achieves financial success by becoming highly specialized in a demanding field. And you might find him say something like, "I'm looking for a job where I can be compensated well for my skills and time, where I am in charge." The big business owner strives for freedom. He achieves financial success by creating a profitable business system. And you might hear him say something like, "I'm looking for people that are smarter than me to run my business for me." The investor also strives for freedom, but he does this through allocating money to where it has the highest expected return. You might hear him say something like, "I'm looking for a place where my money can work for me in the most profitable way possible." Takeaway number 2, OPT and OPM. The number one difference between the left side of the cash flow quadrant and the right side is OPT and OPM. OPT stands for other people's time and OPM for other people's money. A person from the B quadrant uses OPT and OPM when he is designing a business system where he can hire people from the E and S quadrants, while using money from people of the I quadrant. Typically, he also invests a lot of his own time to kickstart the business, but in the long run, this is not essential, and becoming a more passive owner of the business is possible. A person from the I quadrant uses OPT to generate income from his money alone, and if he's skilled enough, he can typically apply other people's money as well as his own money to scale his investment profits. Herein lies the big difference. People from the E and S quadrants never get to use OPT or OPM. Therefore, the more successful they become in their quadrants, the more money they make, but at the same time, their workload increases. Takeaway number 3, the pros and cons of the quadrants. E, the employee. Pros: reduced financial uncertainty, paid vacation, health insurance and other benefits, and colleagues. Cons: success means more work and less free time. Your performance is often higher than your salary, if you are not a slacker, that is, and colleagues, especially bosses. S, the small business owner or self-employed. Pros: you are your own boss. You're paid according to performance. Cons: success means more work and less free time. And financial uncertainty. You might lose money on this. B, the big business owner. Pros: OPT and OPM. Financial freedom can be achieved very quickly. And a greater portion of your profits goes to you. In other words, you pay less tax. Cons: financial uncertainty. You might lose money. It requires a different set of skills than what school teaches. And you'll have to manage people. I, the investor. Pros: OPT and OPM. Financial freedom can be achieved quickly. A greater portion of your profits goes to you, in other words, less tax. And it can be passive. Cons: financial uncertainty. You might lose money. Takeaway number 4. Breaking the addiction, moving to the right side. So, there are pros and cons with all the quadrants, but the right side is where financial freedom can be achieved the fastest. Therefore, we might ask ourselves, how can we move to this side? Money has an addictive power, much like sex or drugs. Therefore, when you earn money through a specific quadrant, you'll be addicted to that quadrant. If you earn money as an employee for a large company, for instance, your brain will associate that type of work with a cash reward. Switching from one quadrant to another becomes more difficult because of this. Moreover, if you've been raised in a family where degrees, job security, paid vacation, and governmental pension has been highly valued, you might have a difficult transition to make. Here are some potential mental obstacles for the conversion.
You're taking too many risks. You might fail. Money can't buy happiness anyways.
As if this wasn't enough, our educational system is built so that it rewards those who make the least number of mistakes and punishes those who make the most. In the B and I quadrants, you must act in the complete opposite way. People who take action will also make the most mistakes, but in the long run, these people will learn more and achieve more as business owners and/or investors. Thomas Edison was criticized for making 1,014 mistakes before creating the electric light bulb. In response, he said, "I did not fail 1,014 times. I successfully found out what did not work 1,014 times." The transition won't be easy, but a great start is to surround yourself with people who have made the journey before and learn from those that are already successful in the B and I quadrants. Takeaway number 5, the 5 levels of investors. According to Robert Kiyosaki, there are 5 different levels of investors. Starting from the bottom, we have 1. The zero financial intelligence level. At this level, we have the people who have nothing to invest at all. Each month, their expenses are higher than their income, often because they forget to pay themselves first, which is the most fundamental strategy for wealth building taught in the classic The Richest Man in Babylon. 2. The savers are losers level. Placing hard-earned money under a mattress or in a low-interest bank account will put you in the top 50% of people financially, but that doesn't mean that it's a solid personal finance plan. Why? Because of inflation. Between 1980 and 2017, the value of the Swedish crown was reduced by 69%, for instance. 3. The I'm too busy level. A lot of people are simply too busy with their careers, family, friends and vacations to dedicate time to investing. They therefore hand over their money to someone else to do it. The problem with this approach is that such a person will never learn how to invest. 4. The I'm a professional level. This is the do-it-yourself investor. He uses his own money and takes his own decisions. He's educating himself in the subject, but hasn't evolved to the last level yet. As you are watching this channel, I expect that you already are at this level, or higher, or that your intentions are to get here. 5. The capitalist level. This is an investor who comes from the B quadrant and has learned how to use the concepts from there in his investing. For example, he is not investing alone. He has advisors that help him gather information about the markets, and in that using OPT. Furthermore, he uses OPM as well as his own money. He has also learned how to use corporations to reduce taxation levels of his capital gains. The level 5 investor is the person who will reach financial freedom first among all of the investors. What level of investor are you? Here's the recap. There are 4 different roads to financial success. You may succeed as the employee, the self-employed, the business owner, and/or the investor. The right side of the cash flow quadrant uses OPT and OPM. There are pros and cons with each of the quadrants, and depending on your personality and goals in life, one might be more suitable than the others. If you wish to move to the B and I quadrants, you must learn to accept risks, make mistakes, and surround yourself with others that have achieved what you wish to do. There are 5 levels of investors, and the greatest profits goes to the level 5 investor, who has learned how to implement business concepts in his investing approach.
So, now that you know all about the cash flow quadrants, the key takeaways are: first, always seek financial intelligence no matter what you decide to do in life. Second, you must always develop business acumen, as it will help you be financially independent in life. And third, you must learn to invest and manage risks no matter which quadrant you belong to. Which of the 4 cash flow quadrants do you want to be in? Thank you for your time. Until next time then, stay enriched and strong.